Hey, Matto, how you doing? Ah, I don't really expect anyone to show up to this because it is Memorial Day weekend, but I figured I'd try anyway. Got to make money somehow. And also, I don't know, not a whole lot to do right now. Mm. But yeah, it's how you doing, Matto? How are things in down under? Um, I'll just give it a few. Wait for people to kind of show up. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Ronan, not Ryan. Hey, how you doing? All right, I'll get to the car meet. I just want to give people a little more time, I suppose. Let me. I've been editing literally all day today and yesterday to get this project done for you guys this week. That I'm very excited to share with you all because it's something that's kind of different from what I usually do. Um, Well, okay, not that different. It's still writing. The Genuine Fur, Mr. Maybe, Bryce Graham, Aphotic Kingdom. Hey, everyone. All right, cool. So, just going to hold for sound for maybe like 5 seconds. Welcome to the podcast, guys. I'm the Roman, and as you can see by the title, we are having a car meet, and it is going to be wonderful. Oh, that's okay, Matt. I completely understand about the Grand Marquis, but I appreciate you keeping me in the loop. Basically, the RCR car meet, our first meet in, I want to say, like 3 years, is happening at the end of June at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center at the annual convention Too Many Games. It's a classic video game convention, and it happens the entire weekend of, let me pull up the dates here. It is basically the weekend of June 23rd, 24th, 25th. It might actually start on the 22nd. Let me look up on Too Many Games. Let's see. Are you 23rd through the 25th? Okay, so the meet, while we do not have like a very concrete time frame for when it's happening, um I barring any sort of like sudden changes that I'm not aware about or that I've not privy to, I believe the meet will be on the morning of Saturday, June 24th. And the reason that we've chosen to do essentially a cars and coffee early in the morning, maybe like around 8 a.m. ish around there, is because Brian and I are going to be doing a panel at Too Many Games. There's no admission, to my knowledge, to get into our car meet. You guys can just show up in whatever car you got, come hang out, have some coffee, check out some cars, come say hi to us. I love meeting you guys so much. Like it's one of my favorite things. Just because you guys always have stories and you always have cool things to share. And even if like it wasn't people saying nice things to me, I would still look very much forward to it. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. Um, but there will be admission to get into the Too Many Games Festival. I mean, because obviously it's a convention, and they got to make money, and so we are doing a panel there, and yeah, it's pretty great. I can't wait. I'm not 100% positive on what our actual panel is going to be about. I think it's leaning towards sort of talking about the effect of car culture on video games or video games effect on car culture because I know Brian plans to have the Galaxy transformation into the Crazy Taxi car finished by the time Too Many Games comes along because there's synergy there with like a video game car video game festival. So I think another reason we're doing it at Too Many Games is because one of the things that we kind of discovered from the last time we did the meet at the Racquetball Club, however many years ago, is that we're woefully like underprepared and incapable of like running our own meet because it's so huge and the logistics are crazy. We were not expecting the turnout that showed up to the racquetball club 3 4 years ago, however long it was, and there was a huge spillover, huge overflow. Like we didn't get in any trouble; it wasn't a problem. But we figured that if we were ever going to do a meet again, we would do it in some place where something else was already going on, so that we're not really the only ones there. So where the date, Benjamin, is, to my knowledge right now, it's still waiting to be officially finalized, but I just know it's going to be the weekend of June 23rd through the 25th, most likely Saturday, June 24th in the morning, like around 8 a.m., 9 a.m., around there, because it's going to be a Cars and Coffee. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I imagine a good chunk of time to make it worth um the while of everyone who traveled there. And I feel bad in a sense because I know that there are a lot of people from like out of state and from far away who would make the drive if it weren't happening so early in the morning and that they wouldn't have to wake up at like, you know, or like basically start driving the night before to make it there in time, or get a room in a hotel somewhere after having driven up here just so that they could be at the show before it's over. But essentially, it's tied into the idea that like we can't really put on our own meat. It needs to be part of something that's already going on. But I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on soon. I know I'm pretty sure Brian's going to Radwood, Philly, and making a video about that. So I guess keep an eye out there. But also, I don't know, just let him work if you see him working. Uh, and we're just. Oh, and oh, sorry. I think I only said the location once. It is the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. You can get the actual location by looking up Too Many Games. It's a video game convention. A lot of classic gaming, a lot of vendors. Angry Video Game Nerd will be there. The voice of Solid Snake will be there. Um, yeah, it's going to be great. And so yeah, that was the first big thing. Oh, you're very welcome, Joshua. There was a question up here. It's funny, like I would probably make more money off of these things if I didn't just answer the regular chat questions. But I feel bad because people ask questions and you shouldn't have to pay to have a question answered by me, even though it's like I don't know. It makes it so that like none of these I don't think I mean outside of a couple of times where people were incredibly generous. The one guy from Puerto Rico, John, last name escaping me, was remarkably generous, and that was like the most I ever made in a podcast. But in a general sense, I just do these because I like hanging out with you guys. Mm. I would like to think that Brian and I might eventually podcast together again, but for the foreseeable future, we're just doing solos because we're both so busy that to actually like link up our schedules is kind of crazy. But the one KEA says, "Good evening, Nick. Good evening yourself. How are you and Mr. Regular affected by the Writers Guild strike? Are either of you closely tracking the strike and the associated SAG, AFTRA, and DGA murmurings? I hope the writers all win." Agreed. I hope the writers all win. I've mentioned it before, but like Brian and I wrote for television once. It was just a season or two of Car Matchmaker on Esquire Network, which is now defunct. Um, but it was more ghostwriting. It wasn't like officially credited. It was just, is what it is. I used the paycheck to buy Betty, and that was that was wonderful. But yeah, it wasn't enough to get a Writers Guild card or anything like that. So I'm not a part of the Writers Guild. Brian's not a part of the Writers Guild. Um, I mean, I'm part of the Automotive Press Association, and that's about it. and I have a gym membership. Those are the only, and a AAA membership, I guess. But those are the only things I'm actually a part of. But thank you for asking. I very much side with the writers, very much. Uh, so interesting. Oh yeah, I still have Betty. I haven't sold her yet because I'm trying to save money between now and September. Although she could go at any time between now and September, depending on my financial situation and how badly I need to get rid of her. Um, like if I don't know, the brakes go and I just want to have it over with. But yeah, I'm trying to save so I can get something that's not just a lateral move into like a car that would similarly need all sorts of work on it. And it was partially the impetus. Oh, yeah, good catch, Ash, about the shirt. It is Steam Whistle Brewing from when Brian and I visited Toronto. Oh man, I really should have wiped my face before coming on here because I have a very like oily face and oh geez, now my eyes are like on fire. Um, Part of the reason I was late starting the podcast is because like I went to take a leak and then I flushed and it the it overflowed like it just right on the bathroom floor. So I had to clean that up and disinfect everything. And it was just a complete mess and really no reason for this to happen, but whatever it did. So, I unclogged everything. So it is what it is. But, um, basically this past week, um, I scheduled a car. Brian and I filmed the car on Thursday. I wrote and recorded the review on Friday, edited it yesterday and all day today. And yeah, uh, it's just been a crazy whirlwind as part of my new sub series that I'm calling Hate Hunt until I come up with a better name for it. That is my attempt to find a car that I can review that I don't actually like. Because, okay, so like half of every RCR video is my writing in addition to Brian's. So, but the actual like driving impressions and everything, like that's 100% Brian. Like he's the one who says how it drives. And the reason is not just because he can speak more intelligently about those, things than myself, but because I like everything. I love being able to drive. I love the privilege of driving, and I love cars when they work because I know what it's like to have a car that doesn't. And so part of the issue is how do you maintain credibility when you don't give anything a bad review, like you don't say anything bad about anything. I mean, there are some cars that like I haven't been crazy about. I didn't really like all that much, but I'm looking for something where like I can be as negative about it as Brian was about the Bravada. Um, like yeah, um I still like contribute very I don't know, like I do I love it when like Brian tells me that we're doing like a negative review, because then I get to like whip out a lot of one-liners in addition to like history stuff and maybe the occasional like literary theory or philosophical narrative tangent. Um, but for the most part, like I just let Brian talk about like the driving characteristics. And so for me, it's me learning how or getting into the habit really of speaking about cars in a way that I'm essentially the presenter. And so it's this weird hybrid format and it's me interviewing the owner but also talking to you guys directly and presenting and mixed in with an actual narrative, like a voiceover narrative. And so the video is somewhere in the realm of like 32 minutes. I'm sorry, I don't know how to be succinct at all. And so this is what the approach I'm taking. Ultimately, the video will either be out Tuesday or Wednesday. but it's um it's really going to be interesting to me to see what you guys think of it, just because it's different from something that I've done. Um, and yeah, it's very I gotta stop saying it's interesting. I swear, it's different in the sense that Brian is taking a very much like me role. Like he takes very, also in a literal sense, he takes the back seat in this video, and so he's basically just sort of playing the Roman for this video. Not in a literal sense, but he's doing a lot of things that I would do. And, holding the camera, just freaking, like delegating certain responsibilities, like, um, discussions with the owner, certain getting factoids and figures from them. Um, there's not enough time to make Brian play the guitar. I do the outro song for this one, but yeah, it's something where I am incredibly lucky that the man who offered his car, I'm not going to say what car it is, but it does tie into the guitar. No, I'm sorry, I'm reading that thing. No, Brian doesn't play guitar, to my knowledge, and so it plays into the car that's coming out next Monday. So it's kind of like a nice segue because they're both negative reviews, but you'll have to tune in to find out whether the hate hunt ends after one single episode or if I still managed to find something redeeming in this awful car that I got to drive. But the man who offered it, I think he heard about it through the either Twitter or from the podcast, and he was the nicest possible man. It led to one of the most enjoyable filming experiences that I can remember. Um, but in the grand scheme of things, it is an ongoing journey. Like, even if I end up giving this car like a super negative review, I'm still going to look for other cars to potentially hate, because in the grand scheme of things, I am still on the mission. I still want to be on the mission, and that's not a spoiler for how the first episode goes. It's just, even when I find the car that I don't like, I'm still going to keep doing like these videos, as for as long as people are willing to submit a car for me to review. I'll do them. It because I want to do like one a month. I want to give like an extra video every single month, just so like there's two RCR videos in a week that people can maybe enjoy. And on that subject, there is currently on this channel, I did a mega cut of the Corvette history saga. So, Harley Earl, the Year Without a Corvette, and the March to Mid-Engine. I combined them into one giant 3-hour video for you guys to check out. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. It's gotten good reviews so far. I mean, there have been people asking me to do that because, it's, I don't know, it just flows better as one video rather than splitting them up into three. But yeah, Hate Hunt is very interesting because I don't know how to be negative about things. I want to maintain an air of positivity, and that's why, like, when I get to be negative in videos for cars that like Brian really didn't like, I love getting to kind of feed that negative space in my writerly brain, because then I get to come up with different things, different lines that maybe I wouldn't normally come up with. Um, but for now, I'm doing Hate Hunt. I'm also working on the next RCR stories, which I can tell you guys right now, is an idea that I got from a comment in the podcast and that I did research on and decided I really wanted to do it. It is the rise and fall of the drive-in movie theater. Don't know if it will go on the main channel or on this channel. If only because I don't know what kind of numbers it'll do on the main channel. But you never know. I could roll the dice and just have it go on main, and maybe as a bonus video, that'll be my like other bonus video for the month. I'm hoping to have it done in a month, just because uh, for as interesting a story as it is, it's not that long. But also because I scaled it back from what the original idea was, which was the rise and fall of drive-ins in general. So not just drive-in movie theaters, but drive-in restaurants. So like, you had car hops coming around serving burgers, fries, and shakes. And that had a pretty interesting history, but I realized I was more taken with the drive-in theater of it all, and it kind of detracted from the drive-in theater to also have to like pivot back to talk about drive-in restaurants. So maybe if I get a chance and I could do like a quick like second channel video on the restaurants. So yeah. Um so I'm just gonna sit here for a minute and chill and see if anybody asks any questions, which is cool. Um, I know I'm not like really expecting any like super chats, I suppose. But I just want to give more people like time to show up, if for no other reason than because I need to give my voice a break, because I've spent the weekend like recording and having to listen to myself talk, and I don't really like hearing myself talk because I don't really like, you know, eh, like I don't hate my voice. It's just it's so wildly inconsistent, and I sound kind of like a teenager, like a perpetual teenager, and it's really weird to me. Um, the RCR Twitter is all Brian, like at regular cars. That's totally Brian. Yeah. Um, mm. And he's a great follow. He's also uh, a great Instagram follow at regular car reviews. Um, yeah. How do you guys feel about the giveaways? I mean, I don't really have it in, like that's just something that like a bunch of YouTubers were doing, and I guess like Brian and them just got in on the giveaways, um, just to further diversify, and to find another like revenue stream, because I totally get it. Um, but yeah, like I don't really have an opinion on those other than to say that like Justin Burnash is a great guy. Like he's a really cool guy, and he's very knowledgeable about a lot of things. Like I've learned a lot from him. So yeah, I yeah. uh, I don't think anyone likes the sound of their own voice unless they're a narcissist, Nick. A true story. Yeah. Most people feel the same as you. You're not weird. You're normal in that regard. Well, thank you, Stony Lonesome. Um, let's see. Oh, Valcat sent a super chat. Sorry, I wasn't trying to like woe is me into getting somebody to send a super chat, but I will say like I'm incredibly grateful for it. So thank you. Um, it says use this for lunch tomorrow. What you getting? So Wawa's been making these Italian ciabattas that have been. Or it's an Italian sandwich on a ciabatta, not literally Italian style ciabattas, but they're fantastic. They're so good. What's interesting is that, and I think it's partially the reason that I've been losing weight, is I just refuse to eat out anywhere anymore. I take all of my meal, I make all of my food, and I've gotten to the point where I've become so comfortable cooking that I get excited to cook for myself and for my girlfriend. I get excited to bake. Like I like baking now. And so tonight for dinner, I made like an impossible burger, and I did my own hand cut fries with my own handmade seasoning that is kind of like this mesquite sweet heat. I didn't mean for it all to rhyme. Thing that I just sprinkled on them, and it was fantastic. And I for breakfast I made myself chocolate chip pancakes. Uh, Day before I made myself like a 3 egg omelet. Before working out, my girlfriend made me these wonderful like egg souffle muffin things so I could have breakfast on the go on days where I'm filming. Um, I've been drinking a lot of like smoothies with like fruit that I'm hand cutting. Like, I've kind of fundamentally changed as a human being, as a result of like not having a lot of money, because I realized that a lot of the things that I would normally do are not that. I realized I didn't have to do them, you know? I don't really have to eat out unless I'm riding with Brian, and even then, I don't have to. I consider it a nice treat to get to eat out while I'm riding with Brian, like having a breakfast at our cafe or a lunch at our other cafe. I think it's something where I'm getting into the mindset of everything being cheaper to just get the groceries and make it yourself, but also it tends to be better. This is not to blow my own horn. It's to get to the point to recognize that because I'm making it myself, I can cater everything to my whims and my preferences. And over time, I realized like anything that I would get from an outside source, they're not going to make it better than I can, or at least they're not going to make it better for me than I can make it for myself. So that's the attitude. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are so wonderful. Not quite lunch. Oh, Evan P, $10. Not quite lunch money, but here's money for a snack in these trying times. Hey, any amount, any is wonderful to me. I appreciate it, and I'm just so grateful. Really, truly. Um, he goes on to say, "Always happy to see you live streaming, Nick. Been watching RCR since the start, and you got a lifetime viewer here. Well, thank you. I really, really appreciate that." Let's see. Oh, another $10 from Joshua. Thank you so much, Joshua. I appreciate that. Um, oh wait, what else? What? There's another one. Phil, 20. Thank you so much, Phil. You guys are wonderful. You guys really like keep me uplifted in times where I'm not entirely, you know, my own best friend. You know. Oh, let me type. My girlfriend's on her way home, so I gotta let her know that hey, technically I'm live streaming right now, but will be done in a half hour because I will be because my phone will die because the webcam on my computer does not work. I don't know why. I rebooted the drivers. There's nothing obscuring the camera, and so like basically I don't have an external webcam, and that's not really a cost that I can justify right now. Wow, my beard is completely uneven. That's another thing that I've been doing. I'm like doing my own shaves because I'm not going to the barber to get shape ups. So yeah, no, like that's why like my hair is such a mess right now. I haven't gone to the barber or anything. I'm completely poverty spec human being. No, that's a lie. I'm doing fine. I promise you guys, I'm doing fine. I'm just making jokes at my own expense. It's I just I could get a haircut. I could easily get a haircut. It's just when I think about it, I'm like, well, no, I'd rather like leave that money where it is. Like it's just unnecessary. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Um, all right. But yes, my phone will be dead inside of like a half an hour. So uh, that's why I announced on Twitter that this is essentially going to be a power hour because I can't really handle more than that. And my phone will not be able to stand upright if I were to plug something in to charge it from the bottom. Also, it would overheat and mess with the camera. And also, if I tried to put it on my wireless charger with the back, when you're filming, when the camera's recording while it's on the wireless charger, it makes this weird beeping sound. And you guys, it would drive you guys crazy, like even crazier than it drives me. So, um, yeah. Uh, oh, like an M. Thank you for the kind words about my voice. Do you guys get money from the RCR Zazzle store? Is that a knockoff? No, the Zazzle store is me. I give the checks to Brian so that he can like claim his half of it, and then I get my half because like, because I started the store and I'm having trouble like changing things over, like any checks from the Zazzle, it's almost nothing just because we don't really promote the Zazzle store. I should technically be closing the Zazzle store. The only reason I keep it open is because people like Kunkelman plate frames, and we're never going to make those ourselves. And that's the only place that you can really do them. So that's kind of why I'm leaving the Zazzle store open. But it's like almost like I make more from this, and I already told you like I don't get a lot from podcast. So, uh, yeah. Let's see. Let me see what other question. Oh, 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 there we go. Oh, oh, it's falling. It's falling. Sorry. Yes, Russell. I mentioned the car meet. So car meet, I will explain again, just for shits and giggles. The Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania, on June I believe I said the 24th. It's a Saturday. It will be happening in the morning as a Cars and Coffee because Brian and I are going to be doing a panel in the Too Many Games convention. So this is happening the weekend of Too Many Games at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. It's an annual convention for classic video games. Going to be great guests, great panels, a lot of free arcade games there that you'll be able to play for as much as you want, tournaments and all sorts of stuff. And so, um, basically, it's a Cars and Coffee style because Brian and I will be doing a panel at Too Many Games, and so there's no admission, to my knowledge, to get into our Cars and Coffee. You just show up and whatever you have, come hang out, have a great time. Really hope you enjoy it. But you'll need like a pass to get into Too Many Games, which I don't know how much it is, but it's not a lot. So it's you know it's like movie going to the movies or something. Which I mean, depending on who you are, it's like, because if you go to a matinee, it's fine, but if you go to like a later show, then it's crazy. But uh, yeah, that is essentially what it is. Not 100% on that time. Like, I just know it's going to be in the morning. I don't know that it's 8 a.m. And I don't know how long it's running until. Again, just sending out apologies to people from out of state, farther away, that maybe wanted to come and kind of can't because they would have to like leave the night before and drive the whole night to get there in the morning before the thing is over, or having to like get a hotel, drive up here, stay in the hotel overnight, and then come in the morning. I mean, you could do that, but um yeah, and I would encourage it to anyone who wants to, who's coming from far away. But the reason we're doing it here is because we're not at a capacity. The last time we did a car show 3 years ago, it was completely, we were way out of our depth in running it, and it was huge turnout, and we weren't prepared for it. So we were kind of figuring like, and with the blessing of the promoters, we're able to, coordinate so that we're latching on to something that's already happening so that people are already going to be there. It's not something where like they're already prepared for big turnouts and everything. And because we're not going to be taking up lots like the whole day, it should be fine. It'll be great. So yeah. What do I think about Pittsburgh? One of my favorite people is from several of my favorite people are from Pittsburgh, honestly. So yeah, I have nothing bad to say about Pittsburgh other than that like it rains a lot. Or it's not even that it rains a lot, it's just that it's cloudy and overcast a lot. Like every single time I've ever gone to Pittsburgh, I don't think I've had more than like one sunny day anytime I've gone to Pittsburgh. But I mean, I don't know, it's a cool city. I mean, they chose it to be Gotham in The Dark Knight Rises for a reason. So yeah. Um but yes. Oh, it's Matto. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that so much. Um, your time and your presence is important to us. Have $31 dues. Is there a chance of another album dropping? Um, So funny you should ask because I recently spoke to my producer because obviously money being what it is, I'm not in a position to like get studio time to go like chase a vanity project. Um, but I asked if he could give me my stems so that I could work on it here. So I'm probably going to try to like put something together on my own. Um, because I realized like there's nothing really stopping me from doing that. The only thing really stopping me is uh, having the time and the ideas of for songs. But yeah, let's see. Uh, oh, oh, checking the. Uh, if the question is, do we accept any car showing up to our car meet? Yes, clearly. Yeah, we're RCR. I cannot imagine a scenario where, man, this is really lopsided. What on earth was I doing with that razor? Huh. Um, the basically the anything that you want to bring car wise, I can't imagine having any kind of problem unless it's like something like illegal. Like your car, if you bring it, it should be street legal. Please, for the love of everyone. Um, but yeah, hear me out. Summer regional tour or car meets charge $50 per car to make it worth your while. That's not a bad idea, but um, I I don't know. It just seems I can't imagine people necessarily coming to that if it's like $50. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not a bad idea. Um, oh, I knew you guys were quoting a line. It's okay. Uh, oh, speaking of car shows and car meets, I probably should have said something about this earlier. There is an event, and let me look up the time, but and this ties into the Zazzle store discussion. Um, but next Saturday, there will be in Conshohocken a car show that I'm going to that I plan to produce content on. It is a craft show slash car show. Um, uh, it is Destination Conshohocken. I'll post info about this on my Twitter and Instagram, like just my socials, and hopefully the people who need to see it will see it. But it is in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, next Saturday. It is a craft show. I will be there um, selling, personal care products with my girlfriend as part of her side business. Uh, and there's a car show happening there also, so I plan on making a video on it while I'm there. And yeah, come say hi. And if you are able to find me, and you buy something from our booth, I'll send you home with like your pick of some leftover RCR merchandise that I have. They're all bumper stickers, but I got like regular car reviews, like hat one. I got Portland, Oregon hipster bait. I think I have a Kunkelman one in there. But yeah, that's basically yeah. It'll be a good time, weather permitting. I imagine it's going to happen, weather permitting or not. But I mean, whether or not it's a good time probably depends on the weather. So, but yeah, let's see. Let's see. Oh, that's a very generous offer, Matto, for audio production help. Really appreciate it. Um, Let me see. I'd be interested in a video on y'all trying to make the car meet happen, behind the scenes kind of stuff. Um, I mean, it's that would have been good for like the last one that we did, but for this one, it's like most of the logistics I think are being taken care of by people who aren't us, so there's not really much to go through. Um, does the venue allow tailgating in their lot? I do not know. When we get a little closer to the date, we will go over specifics. For now, all I have is just a date and time, and even then, those aren't like super finalized. But I mean, you're always open to checking the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center website and looking up and trying to find that information to see if they do allow that. I'm not entirely sure if they do. So, yeah. Whew, all this time and I haven't even gotten to my drink. Mm. Mm. Ah, but yeah. Uh, mm. Actually, instead of calling the venue, what I would do is reach out to the Too Many Games official Twitter or any of their official social media um, pages because I think they would know whether or not it'd be allowed for. And I'm just thinking because if you go through the venue itself, I feel like they won't really know what you're talking about or how to direct the answer to your question. But yeah, I pride myself on owning two JDM cars, which are pretty much unmodified, at least aesthetically. Good thing about old Isuzus is that they aren't ever preyed on by racers, drivers, vapesters. True story. Um, but yeah, so what? How how's my battery doing? All right. Got a little more time left. Uh, oh, ooh, excuse me. Ooh, burp. Uh, but yeah, that's true. Like there is something to the idea of like you're paying the $50 to go to the car show because it's regional and that's money that you're saving on gas to avoid having to actually drive there yourself. So mm, it's I really need to learn how to get better at shaving. I got too used to going to a barber for a shape up. So I mean, I suppose, and it is a decent. Like I was talking with Brian, and we were talking about possible, you know, I don't know, like merchandise tables or something. But then you got to find someone to run it, and I don't know how many of the people from like the RCR universe will be there. You know, because I feel like all of our friends who've been associated with RCR are kind of part of the universe, like Lance. Um, who was in the Mustang video last Monday, and yeah, the Tony Airlines, Greg International, Brad the Bard. It's all this stuff, or all these people who I would be excited to have in one place, just for my own social wellness. But I honestly don't know who's going to be there. Hopefully you're there. Yeah, but for now, yeah, uh, it's weird. It's kind of a good thing that this is a power hour podcast because I'm already like out of things to talk about. Like I'm terrible at trying to generate my own content in real time and figuring things out. Oh, and I'm watching Jeff Hardy just slip all over the ropes because someone posted the opening or clips from the AEW Double or Nothing pre-show. Um, that's another one of those things where, like, it's I like wrestling, but I can't really justify the expense of spending money on it right now. So yeah, it's eh. Who started the Macho Man sunglasses? I think that was Brian because he got a complimentary pair of Pit Vipers, and I still have my pair of Pit Vipers because I got one too, and yeah, it just kind of kicked off this thing. Oh, in the videos. Well, yeah, yeah, no, it was still Brian. Yeah. Uh, I think we need to do more like stop motion stuff. Yeah, the like Cool Dad, that type of stuff. I mean, I've been having a lot of fun doing the fake ads. Um, and so I hope you guys enjoy the next one. I'm not going to tell you like what video it's coming in, just so that you guys can kind of be taken off guard by it. So hopefully, um, who would win in a wrestling match between you and Brian? Probably Brian. I don't know. Like it, he's way more in much better shape than I am. Like I have size, but that's about it. And really, I only have like 10 pounds on him now. So, it used to be much more. But yeah, so I'll just say Brian. Uh, yeah, I honestly had a lot of. I had to lull at the hatered on that Bravada vid. At the hatred on that Bravada vid. My mom had blazers for years, and they were boring to the point of almost not being able to form an opinion about them. Certainly not interesting enough to stir that level of passion. Fair. I mean, there are a lot of cars that you can say that about, though, because I think passion is relative. You know, there's no reason to necessarily feel the way that a lot of people feel about, say, like a Buick Estate wagon. But people who are passionate about niche things tend to be really passionate about them. So, um, yeah, it's like the idea being that because it's so obscure or because it's something that not a lot of people like or has like a huge fan base as much as other cars, then it's not like, I don't know, it's just you feel a sense of ownership of the things you like, and especially when you feel like you're the only ones who like them. So it makes sense why a lot of these different sort of niche cars tend to have the bigger fan bases, especially even when there's nothing to really inspire that level of devotion. To this day, I still don't get why people are this passionate about Jeeps, but they are, and God bless them. You know, I I don't really get it, but you know, good for them. People are enjoying life and living and doing those things. So I hope, I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, tonight's the series finale of Succession. Oh, I'm gonna miss that show. Oh well, so it is. Um, let's see. Hmm, I feel like there are things that I should be able to talk about, but I don't know. I started looking for like part time remote work just to, you know, help with the getting a different car. And with any luck, I'll be able to find something that will help improve my situation and allow me to work on RCR at the same time. That's why like I'm going remote so I can do multiple things at the same time because I'm very good at multitasking. But it's something where like I wouldn't want it to be a forever thing. But I mean, if it has to be, then fine. Uh, but see, that's kind of the thing about these podcasts. I feel like I tend to overshare, but eh, that's part of being a YouTuber, I guess, or a podcaster in general, is you tend to form these, for as much as they talk about people online, talk about parasocial relationships, I feel like content creators also sometimes have parasocial relationships with their own viewers because you are not used to having your opinion you're not used to having a platform of being able to say something about your life, your circumstances, or even just some random opinion you have, and immediately get all kinds of responses, and having people read it and having people respond to it. And I'm still not used to it in a lot of ways, of thinking that, like, I'll say something like the beginning of this podcast. Like, I promise you, I was not trying to like guilt anybody into giving super chats. I was just speaking off the cuff about how, like, I don't know, I'm not really expecting super chats because these things don't really make money outside of like extraordinary circumstances. But I was kind of overlooking the fact that, I the things I say get responses, and sometimes those responses involve action. So I think we always have to be mindful of the things that we say in life, but also online, especially. Um, that's kind of the thing, is like, I feel like in order to be successful with RCR, we had to say and do a lot of things that would make us functionally unemployable doing anything else. So it's kind of like this weird double-edged sword, but it's life. I can't i can't go through life dictating how the universe works, and being bitter when it doesn't go my way. I can be upset, I can be sad, I can be angry, but I can't rage against the world and reject the way things happen. I have had ideation in the past several months. Nothing active. I know me well enough to know that I wouldn't do that to people that I love, and who love me. It's completely passive, but it's more of a thought of just like, oh, huh, and then it's gone, you know. And even those moments, it scares me, because I didn't know that I had the capacity to think that way. It's not anything I want. It's not anything I would ever plan. Um, but sometimes it's intrusive thoughts, you know, and that's kind of what happened. Oh, hey, Speedy Man Charles, $10. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I remember the last PA car meet you guys did. It was a lot of fun. Sadly, I won't be able to go to this one. Well, I'm sorry about that. I hope that you'll be able to come to a future one. I hope. Um, and I hope we do get to do more of these, but we'll see. You know. Um, let's see. Stony Lonesome. Why did they hide your message? And as for the Lincoln with the BMW diesel, that was just sad. Of all the people to mess up an i6, it's BMW, and a diesel should have been the most reliable thing ever. Their engines used to be good. um, it's weird. I really have. I wish I had more experience with BMWs outside of like this limited sort of 90s 2000s sort of era, because I always hear that like their engines used to be really good, and I don't know what era people are necessarily talking about when they say that. Um, but yeah, I was just up in PA this weekend. I was in Bergland. I don't think I've heard of Bergland. Granted, Pennsylvania is a very large state, and we have a lot of like weird names for places that even I'm still learning. Some of these places in Pennsylvania. So yeah, let's see. All right, I'm gonna go for maybe like another 10 minutes. Um, what was I talking about before I saw that super chat? Oh yeah, the the unpleasantness. It's interesting that when our thoughts sort of have their own sort of their own sort of momentum, that we tend to sort of run away from that rather than interrogating it. Like if my thoughts are trending towards like despair, it's like the the first reaction is to kind of run from that rather than to interrogate it and maybe find out that I don't really have a reason to be feeling that way, or if I do, that there are actions that I can take that can kind of ameliorate the stress and strain that I'm feeling. Granted, there's not always an easy solution or a solution at all, but I don't know. I have to try, you know? Um, and this is what the past like couple months has been. This is me trying. To borrow a line from from a singer from my hometown, from my fucking high school, Taylor Swift. But this is me trying, and I do like Taylor Swift. I'll admit that. I think she's fantastic. I think she's a fucking genius. She's one of like the most popular songwriters in the world and one of the most prolific. Like, and we fucking went to the same high school at the same time. Like, what the fuck? It's she's in my fucking yearbook. Like, it's weird. It'll never not be weird, but and I know like there are some people in this area who are like, oh, Taylor Swift, whatever, and I'm like, no, I'm fucking proud of her. Shit, like anybody from Reading who makes it, like fuck yeah, Lonnie Walker the fourth, hell yeah, Lonnie Walker, man. Um, but yeah, uh, RCR could have like 21 million subscribers, and I'll still never be the most famous person born in Reading, Pennsylvania, for as long as Taylor Swift exists on this earth. So, cheers to her. Get Tay Tay on the podcast. Yeah, she would never go on that. Come on, this. Like, I doubt she has any awareness of who I am because I spoke to her once, I think, in like we were both in a production of in a production of The Sound of Music, and but then I got sick before the show actually went on and ended up not being in it. So I maybe said like one or two sentences to her, and really, you know, back then she was just like this. She was just like this tiny, like mousy girl who was like sang at the baseball games, and um, yeah, just very into like just performance. And I don't know, she just seemed like a completely normal kid. Like I always hear these things about like, oh, she was rich and she must have had like, you know, she must have acted like she was above everybody else, and I never really got that from her at all. So yeah. um but granted, I have very extraordinarily limited experience with her at all, so yeah. um I'll probably be the token Stony Lonesome. I'll probably be the token femboy at the car meet, unless Brian brings his furry buddies. It'll be a blast. That sounds wonderful. It'll be great to see you there. As an owner of an 80s BMW, I can say that's a huge problem in later models. Wait, was there a preceding message about this that I completely missed? Or is it in response to my thing about BMW engines not being great? RCR reviewing my 86 Fiero tomorrow, Roman. Tomorrow? I don't know. But yeah. Well, probably not tomorrow. I don't know why I said I don't know. But how am I on battery? All right, I got to wrap this up in the next like handful of minutes. So, if anybody else has any like last questions or thoughts you want to get in, now's the time. I'm happy to answer things. What does this button do? Oh, it gives filters. Interesting. I didn't know. I mean, I don't think any of them make a material difference to my appearance other than this bubbles. Ooh, bubbles. Um, oh, dance party. Dream, glamour, uh, 8 millimeter. Oh, 8 millimeter. Oh, that's kind of nice. Um, Fierp. Uh, uh, oh, Tony Airlines. I got off for the car meet, but no longer have the Honda Beat, so the Versa will have to do. See you there. Hey, dude, one of the most successful episodes of the podcast in terms of like viewers in the chat at one time was the auction for your Honda Beat, when we were watching that come to an end, I want to say we had something like 1,000 people in the chat at the same time, which was wild. So, but hey, it's a Versa. Please bring it. All cars are welcome, even Nissans, even Nissan Altimas. So yeah, um, all that stuff. Going through more filters. Oh, okay, this is a horrifying filter. Let me just leave this on for the rest of the podcast, or maybe the sketch one. Take on me, take me on. Oh, all right, no. But yeah, please, no big ultimate energy. So, um, what's good, Nick? I hope to bring Heimert's E28 528E to a meet sometime. I don't know if it's in the right mechanical shape for review, but I would for you guys to see it at some point. Hey, just, you know, go to the website, fill out the form, and hopefully we'll be able to review it at some point. But yeah, this is, I don't hate this filter. It's kind of nice in its own weird way. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for the meet, and I'm really excited for that whole weekend, really, because between the meet, the panel, all the various, people that are going to be there, Linkara, Angry Video Game Nerd. I think Vinesauce is going to be there. I don't know if Charles Martinet is going to be there. He might be, so you might be able to ask him what he thinks about Chris Pratt as the voice of Mario, and Charlie Day as Luigi. Uh, David Hayter, Solid Snake himself, he's going to be there. Uh, Colt Cabana, you can ask him about CM Punk, and he'll probably not answer anything. But that just seems like a bad idea to go prowling into someone's personal life that way. But yeah, a lot of decent names. This is also the same convention that like a few years ago, like Chris Chan famously broke down at. That's probably like, for better or worse, the most coverage that the convention has gotten, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure there's no chance of running into Chris Chan there. So this year, anyway. So yeah. All right. It's been an hour. It's been an hour too. So I think I'm going to wrap this up with the AHA Take On Me filter. And thank you so much for joining me for the podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who donated on Super Chat. You allow us to exist as a much larger channel than we really are. Anyone who donates to our Patreon, new review on Monday, along with a bonus video either Tuesday or Wednesday, the debut episode of Hate Hunt, where I try to find a car that I could give a negative review to. And I hope you guys enjoy all of it. And thank you so much for watching our videos every week on the main channel and for joining us on the podcast. Whether you donate a super chat or not, the super chats are always appreciated, but your presence is vital. I just love seeing and having you guys here. So have a wonderful rest of your holiday weekend, and hope to see you tomorrow for a new RCR. Have a great night.